Hey man,
What's up?
my shirt is like it doesn't show on camera, which is nice, but like I wear this really if you've seen me, if you know me, if you've seen the AI versions of me, I wear this really like comfy white hoodie that I picked up over the summer in Delaware, but the inside is so fuzzy and I forget when I wear a black t-shirt that like my shirt changes color.
So I had opposite problem today.
Yeah.
Um, so like you, I was wearing a hoodie earlier today because it was cold, over a black t-shirt. Well, I put the black, I had the black t-shirt on. It was getting a little warm because I'm in North Carolina, so it's a little warmer here. And I took it off, and all of a sudden my body disappeared on camera. So I'm like, oh, I got to go grab another shirt. So I did that real quick before we started.
I think it's funny. I was on a call yesterday with a couple of people, and this one, I'm not going to call anyone out by the name, but happened to be a woman, and her hair was done very nicely. But the problem was because she had a virtual background on, even though she was in an office, and the way her hair sat, you could see green like through her hair. Nothing beats the company that we used for the first ACEs during COVID. And I don't remember the name of the company, but they sucked. And when after they didn't perform to the expectations they had promised, I remember getting on. I think I've talked about this on the show before. I got on a call with the owner. The owner got on Zoom with us, and it was supposed to be like a Zoom-based platform. It was like a web platform that would work as Zoom. And he was on from like what was very clearly his mom's basement, and he had a green screen that was maybe, it was missing a third of both sides, so it was like center point. And like he had green on his shirt. So he had a fake background on the green screen. The fake background showed on his shirt where his lettering was. And then you could see mom's Christmas stuff in the background behind the green screen. And I was like, you know what? If you and I had met before I paid you, I would have never paid you.
Yeah.
Look, folks, if you're using Zoom, know how to use it. Bit of near. All right.
Level up your email domain security and deliverability. Reduce business email compromise and reel in that pesky email phishing. Make DMARC a new revenue stream for your MSP. Becoming a managed service provider partner with EasyDMARC is a great opportunity for your business to boost sales and decrease risk. Your customers need DMARC. Your job is to let them know that their email domain might be at risk. Find out more today at atmsp.link/EasyDMARC. That's atmsp.link/EasyDMARC. Operating an MSP sucks. Gozinta is here to make it suck less. With their consulting services, they are your trusted advisors through every step of your MSP's journey, from startup to exit. And their software is crafted with care to ensure that they're solving problems for you and not creating new headaches. Find out more at atmsp.link/Gozinta. That's atmsp.link/Gozinta.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the All Things MSP podcast. I'm your host, Justin Esgar, and with me always, the man whose beard is the only thing this Thanksgiving that hasn't gotten trimmed, Mr. Eric Anthony.
And that's not entirely true, because I did have it trimmed the other day when I got a haircut.
I mean, the other option was his beard so festive, I found a cranberry in it.
Well, you know what I can do this year? I can actually hang the little Christmas balls in it.
That's gross.
It is.
Welcome to our Thanksgiving Day episode, everyone. It's the week of Thanksgiving. We wanted to put something out, so we're going to play a game today as opposed to actually providing content. I don't know. We'll figure it out. It'll be great. So,
it's a holiday. It's for fun.
Holidays are for fun. So one of my favorite podcasts, and I think I've mentioned this before, is this podcast called the Off Menu Podcast with Ed Gamble and James Acaster. And they ask guests to come on, and it's a dream restaurant. They ask everybody for their favorite starter, main, side, drink, and dessert. So I'm going to put a little MSP twist on this, and Eric and I are going to play Off Menu MSP Edition. Insert music here. I'm hoping there was music. For those who don't realize, when we record these things, I just do things and then Eric has to figure it out after. And I pleasantly surprised when I listened back to the episode. Yes, I listened to our episodes. My son, Roman, calls me off at this all the time. He gets in the car and he's like, "Are you listening to yourself?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. I just need to make sure I sound good." All right. So the first question I'm going to ask Eric, which is normally the still or sparkling water question, is fiber or cable?
Fiber.
Fiber. Why? You have to kind of tell why. All right, hold on.
So,
What
I mean,
words, Marie?
obviously, there's the technology reasons why and the speed reasons why. But cable is, and not to get too technical here, but cable is so susceptible to these just weird outside issues like humidity.
And lightning?
Well, yeah, light. Well, I should bring that up, right? Because Orlando, you know, lightning capital of the world, where I had my MSP. Obviously, I don't live there now, but I mean, every time, if there wasn't a surge protector on that cable line, you know, we made tons of money dealing with lightning, but customers got frustrated. And so, especially for business customers, we installed a lot of, and the only ones that seemed to work for me were the APC ones.
Yeah.
That you actually had to connect the green ground wire to something. And sometimes that was the hardest part, was finding a ground somewhere close enough to tie that to.
I always find it interesting when they tell you to ground it and they give you a clip to go around like a water pipe in your house. And I'm like, I know electricity and water doesn't play well together. Why would I do this? But apparently that's what you're supposed to do. I agree. I'm also a fiber, but I find that fiber is so fickle. It's so dainty. It's so easy to break. I do like the rigidity of cable, but I think in 2025 we've hit our cap on what cable can be. I will also say that ISPs really need to speed the F up about getting fiber installed. I've been in this house now 3 years. I remember my third month here, they were like, Fios is in your area. And I ordered it. They came to the house and they were like, it's not in the area. We don't know why this went through. That December, they dug the trenches in all the streets and then nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I see the bundle down the street. I'm like, I'll just do it for you.
In all fairness, like I said fiber, but I don't have fiber myself, right? We've been in our house 10 years and, have been dealing with cable the entire time. Now, I will say that, what was it? When did I tell you? 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, they actually came by, AT&T came by and put a door hanger on our door saying that it's coming. And we have had the utility locator people out, marking the road and where all the existing cables go, so that it looks like they are going to install AT&T fiber sometime in the next decade.
Well, good luck with that. All right, let's move on. We're going to go to our main course. This is your dream tool or stack. So you get to design your dream stack. And I'm assuming it's going to be some sort of MDM, EDR, RMM, email security, PSA, whatever. Like, why is this your turkey? Why is this your centerpiece?
So I think there's an interesting conversation to be had here, because I think the traditional answer, right, the turkey as opposed to ham, would be an RMM. Some people have ham for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I know. I don't.
No, I'm fine with it. I didn't catch the reference for a second.
I think RMM would be your traditional answer, right?
Mm.
Now, I think it's interesting because I think RMMs have kind of are starting to drop down to a second tier tool, right?
Because MDM is like higher up.
Because MDM has become more important as we go more mobile, right? And as we go across more devices, rather than the primary endpoint being a desktop or a laptop. So I think it's interesting to have that part of the conversation, but also when you're talking about the stack, generically, I think you have to build it now, starting with cybersecurity. I think cybersecurity needs to be the first thing you think of, because that is probably the most important piece of the entire kit. Now, it used to be you'd lose productivity if you if your hard drive on your desktop filled up and a technician had to come out and clean it out, right?
Yeah.
But now you just jump to your tablet or your phone, and you can do, even on your phone, if most of your job is writing emails and responding to emails, you can do that from your phone.
Yeah.
So the endpoint is a lot less important today than it was.
I think that because on the Apple side, it was always MDM first, right?
Right.
It's such a core piece of Apple. I think because the iPhone specifically has captured like 80% of the market, that the idea that MDM, like it took a while, but now it's in the PC arena, right? You have Intune and a couple others, but even those aren't necessarily 100% great for iPhones. You want to use like a Jamf or an Adigy or something. Like that has become the forefront. So I agree with you that I think MDM has taken over as your first piece, let's say over RMM. Tools like Adigy, which give you both, really make things nice.
Yeah.
But there's other ones out there. Like, I know that I talk about Adigy all the time because we're an Adigy shop or whatever. I do agree with you about the cybersecurity thing. I want to press on you a little bit though, because it means so much to so many people. Like you and I just got done doing a whirlwind tour, right? You were at a couple shows. I was at a couple shows. It's the word cybersecurity can just like open a flood. You ever watch those videos where people like clean out a pipe and then there's just like a log of like dirt and then just right? Like that's what the term cybersecurity is, because like as soon as you said that, I was like, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about email security? Are we talking about getting a SOC in place, like Blackpoint or SentinelOne or CrowdStrike or whatever? Like, what are we talking about when it comes to cybersecurity, and why should that be the first? I'm throwing it back at you. Why is that your primary piece? Why is that your turkey leg?
Because I think that is the piece that is going to cause the most damage to the client if it's not done correctly.
But what's included in it? Like, are you just holistically?
I think that changes, right?
Yeah.
It changes based on the client. It changes based on how much they rely on cloud services, which, by the way, would be the second most important thing that I would point to.
Yeah.
But you're right. It is all these different layers. It's kind of like the trifle. Not that we're moving to dessert yet.
Yeah, we're not on dessert. That's later.
I know, but that's where my brain went because of the layers, right?
Onions have layers, and so do ogres.
Oh, I knew this was going to go off the rails.
I can give you other networks. Networks have layers. I don't know what they are. I've never learned, but whatever.
Never needed to.
If you know what network layer 1, 2, or 3 is, leave us a comment below.
So I think, there's different ways you can look at this, and I'm taking cybersecurity to mean a group of tools rather than one individual tool. And I think that changes based on the client need.
Right. All right. So cybersecurity is your turkey. Size of the turkey depends on the client, or in this case, how many people are coming to dinner.
How many threat actors are? Yeah.
How many real people versus AI people are coming? You ever have somebody like do Thanksgiving on Zoom before?
No.
It's weird.
I've heard of it, but I have not.
Like one person from our family couldn't make it, so I set up a tablet and they like zoomed in from like wherever they were, and they were like eating McDonald's, and the rest of us are like, can someone pass the cranberry sauce? Yeah, whatever. I agree. I'm in kind of the same light. I think I'm not going to say cybersecurity is the number one, maybe just because of an Apple focused, first thing. But I do agree that it is something that like needs to be in the forefront. And you know what? Depending on how many people you're serving, maybe you do 2 turkeys. Maybe you do a turkey and ham. I always thought lobster was traditional at Thanksgiving, but never had ham or lobster at Thanksgiving yet. Maybe this year. Let me know. When this show comes out, it'll be like Thanksgiving in like 2 or 3 days. By the time you guys respond to me, it'll already be post Thanksgiving. But if you're getting to me pre-Thursday, tell me what you're eating and what I should serve at my Thanksgiving. Not that I'm cooking any of it. I'm letting Michelle do all of it. Whatever. All right. Side dish. Ready for this one?
Okay.
The most underrated tool that you are most thankful for.
Most underrated tool that I am thankful
so just behind the curtain. We're using ChatGPT to like help build some of this content here. Here are the ones they gave: Daisy Disk, never even heard of that one. Nudge, 1Password, MTR reboots, Homebrew, and calendar invites that people actually accept. All of these are Mac focused ones because I think ChatGPT is reading some of my other folders, but
It knows you.
yeah, it knows me.
Dashboards. I would say dashboards.
Yeah. Gecko board.
Because, and I've talked about that. It's funny because I've talked about that in the last week. I've done a couple of YouTube shorts regarding dashboards. And as an MSP, obviously this is not a tool that you would use with your clients, but as an MSP, a lot of times it's hard to see the forest for the trees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're dealing with trees popping up daily because our clients are submitting tickets, they're calling, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, we have a business to run. And if that business is not running correctly, the quickest way we're going to see that is with a dashboard. So that would probably be the one that I'm most thankful for in terms of keeping me on track when I was an MSP.
Yeah. You know what I love when it comes to dashboards? There's a product called Gecko Board. I'm not promoting them, but
I've played with it before.
When I got a chance to use it, I loved it, especially when we were in Zendesk. It was really easy to see all that stuff, and like you have to pay to put it on a TV and stuff like that, which I thought was stupid. But I do agree. I think the dashboards. I think the dashboard concept really goes into data management. What are you measuring in your company to move your company forward? Honestly, the most underrated tool for me. Ooh, that's a good one. Is ChatGPT underrated? Or are we done with that?
I think it can be, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so quickly gone from this new shiny toy to something that we use every day.
I will say, as much if past Justin would be so mad with me right now because like ChatGPT 3 was not great. We're on ChatGPT 5.1 and I'm in it all the time building ideas. Like yes, I create some content. If you look at my LinkedIn, I was using Sora to make some funny videos about me traveling and such, but like I'm using ChatGPT and I'm giving it some like hard pieces of data to like really like help organize and bring the company to another level by like basing concepts off of one another and stuff like that. So, I don't know if you think ChatGPT is underrated. I think it's still a little underrated. I think people are using it incorrectly, I think is why I'm considering it underrated. I'll say that, or there's a great little program called Support App by a company called Root 3 NL, I think. Let me check. Yeah, Root 3 NL makes a program called Support App for the Mac. And it's a great little menu bar pop-up that gives the client their name, the computer name, if they have a software update, how much hard drive space, the last time they rebooted. Not that we're telling them all the time, but at least they have something in their face that tells them it, and you can completely customize it. So we have it built out, so it says like hi Justin, hi Eric, like on the top, and it has our logo and stuff like that. And the guys over at Root 3 and I'll make and it's free. It's on GitHub. So I like that. I'm a big fan of that one. All right, we're on to drink. What keeps you going during the holidays? Could be a literal drink. It gave options of coffee or bourbon, so clearly ChatGPT does not know me at all. A habit, a type of client, or a process that saves sanity. So what keeps you going during the holidays, Eric?
Ooh.
I hate the holidays.
So I think, where my brain goes, and I don't necessarily have a tool or a methodology, but this is where my brain just went when you said that, in terms of over the holidays, right? And keeping yourself sane.
Yeah.
Yes, whiskey helps. But I think this is interesting because it falls in line with something that I was reading just the other day about how do you deal with making sure that things are running safe over the holidays, because listen, it's a typical time for threat actors to ramp up their attacks. And how do you make sure that nothing is slipping under the radar while you're eating turkey and falling asleep afterwards? And I don't know that I have an answer for that right off the top of my head, but I think it is something that should be considered, right? In terms of keeping you sane, because I know for myself, I would get very anxious today if I was still an MSP and I was worrying about, threat actors over a holiday weekend. And it would probably ruin my holiday weekend if it wasn't for whiskey.
So the answer is whiskey. Got it. Okay. I don't like the holidays because it's too quiet. Like I need the noise. Like whether
Yeah.
that's like because I need the feedback from clients or other consultants. Like I'm in, all these Slack groups, and I think the two quietest days for me are Labor Day and Memorial Day because everybody's off. No one's like Thanksgiving, at least you're with most likely you're with your family or friends and you're with other people. You can get that interaction. But like Memorial Day and Labor Day specifically, like you're at home. No one's coming over. Your kids, if you have kids, are probably home, or if you don't have kids, you're home, by yourself or with your spouse. It's too quiet. I can't stand it. When Slack is too quiet, it bothers me. It's really weird. And I don't drink really. So it's hard for me to like agree. I mean, I understand where you're coming from with the whiskey thing, or like a little, what do they call it? Like an Irish coffee, right? Yeah. You know what what really pisses Michelle off? This is a good one. Last year, or when we were in the old house, I really like watching the Yule log on like the original Yule log, the one that used to be on WPIX 11, like way back in the day. And I would have it on TV, and right under our TV was an actual fireplace. And like, I didn't light the fireplace one year. And she's like, why are you just watching one? We have one.
Yeah. Well, because if it's a real wood fireplace, it's sometimes more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah.
So in regards to your silence piece there, I actually had a I guess I would call it an MSP PTSD moment. This was probably a month or so ago, where I woke up on a Sunday morning. I had not received an email since like 5 o'clock the night before.
Right. No emails, not even like junk email or nothing.
Well, a lot of that gets filtered out because Google does a great job of that. And so I freaked out. Like I was like, oh God, was I breached? Was I compromised? And then I went to spam. And of course I had received a ton of spam messages in that time period. So it was actually okay. But that silence can be deafening.
Yeah.
Because you're like, what's wrong that I'm not getting notifications? When is the other shoe going to drop? And we probably shouldn't be doing this right before a holiday weekend, because now we're giving everybody anxiety. But
they have whiskey. Everyone has whiskey.
But one of the things that you could do, and I think we had this set up for a couple of clients when I had my MSP through our RMM, we had actually set up some heartbeat notifications. Yeah. So even with if nothing was wrong, I was still getting some kind of notification to say that, yes, this was still working. Because sometimes it's not about getting notifications when when things go wrong, but it's getting notifications when everything is still going right.
Yeah, that's your proactiveness that everyone wants to be, as opposed to reactive. I will during the quiet times, I will go into our ticketing system and just see that I'm getting monitoring alerts from computers, and I'm like, okay, this isn't the Matrix, and nobody unplugged me. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I think also just, for the longer holidays, let's say like the Christmas break, holiday break, whatever you want to call it. The way we're building out our team to like work, and I'm acting as like a secondary, like I'm on vacation, but like I know they're there. I think knowing that my team is there, doing the tier 1 for anyone who's still around that week. And this year is weird because I think Christmas and New Year's are both on a Thursday.
Yes.
So no one's coming to work on Friday on either week. So it's really like Monday, Tuesday, and half of Wednesday, both of those weeks. It's not even like a full week of work, right?
Right, because one is Christmas Eve, the other one's New Year's Eve.
Right, exactly. So it's a Monday, Tuesday whatever that is, the 28th and 29th. So I think knowing that my team is covering it and I've kind of beta tested this by being away the last 3 weeks at all these shows that we've talked about. I think that's what's going to keep me going this year. We'll see what happens. I'll come back to you in our first episode back in January would be like Justin murdered everyone.
Now, of course, you said that, and now I think it deserves a little explanation. Justin just said when we come back in January, just so that everybody knows, we have all of the interviews that we did at the booth at IT Nation. Those are going to be queued up to come out over the December month timeframe, because Justin and I will be working on, even though it's been 2.5 years, we will be working on season 2 of the podcast and what that looks like for 2026. And we've got some exciting things that we've already talked about, and it's going to be good. But that's why he said we're coming back in January.
Truth be told, that's not what I meant, but we'll go with it. Yeah. I just meant like when we do our show in January, like I didn't realize I was talking with a break. It's fine. Whatever.
Okay.
Right.
I just,
you took it. I love it. Let's keep going. All right. This is what we do here at All Things. We just have fun. All right. So we're on to our dessert course. All right. The most satisfying MSP moment of the year. So your dessert is your payoff, right? So best win, client praise, a problem solved brilliantly, an automation that reduces hours to minutes. What was the most satisfying MSP moment of the year? It's hard for you because you're not an MSP anymore. But what do you got?
But I'll go back to the one that I've probably shared in the past. And that was my very first ransomware incident, right? Which was probably 3 of the worst days of my life. But ended on a very good note. Because we were able to piece together their data and get them back up and running in 3 days with no backup. Editor Eric here. I feel like I should take a moment to explain the whole no backup thing. This was a brand new client, and they did have a backup, but the backup was actually erased by the ransomware event, except for it didn't erase some of the shadow copy files. So I was actually able to restore some of the shadow copy files, as well as a recent copy of their accounting software that they had just sent to their accountant. Okay, back to the show.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think for me, for this, because this year's been kind of a tough year, I think for everybody. I think the most satisfying moment for me, probably not even from the MSP thing, was just the opportunities that I was given this year to like do presentations. I've gotten some really positive feedback, which helps because I'm trying to build up this. I was talking to Melanie Curtis the other day. I'm going to be the Gary V of MSP. That's what my new nickname is, right? So building up these and meeting so many new people this year at things like IT Nation and Channel Pro and all these other shows that you and I were at. PAX 8 was another one. I think I would be it. From my team perspective, though, I mean, we've made massive headway this year in how our processes work. We're really diving into the data behind our processes, making sure that our workflows are working, that they're actually working workflows and not dead flows. I'm not going to say that we've added AI to anything, but there is automation in some of those workflows, tying tools into things like Roost or writing API calls to things that never would have made sense in the past or stuff like that. I think this year, just generally speaking, I'm super satisfied with how the team at Virtua has really pushed the envelope in creating the most efficient workflows. And this way we can help customers just that much more, right? Like our end goal is to empower people with their technology, and we've empowered ourselves to be able to empower you. It's the put your mask on before you put the mask on your child thing.
Yes.
Not that the airline wants your child to die. They just want you to be safe first. I was thinking about that Fight Club scene where they replace all the airline cards in it. And you know what I'm talking about? The drawing of the people. So one of the scenes in Fight Club, to cause chaos, they replace all those like safety cards in airplanes with like horrible, horrible imagery of people just getting like maimed and hurt and like all these things. It's hilarious.
Oh.
Watch Fight Club.
Quick question.
Yeah.
If you're Gary V, does that make me the guy following you around with a camera?
I think he's had like 4 of those, so I got to figure out which one you are. All right, let's do a wild card. This is our wild card. This is because it's our Thanksgiving episode. What was the worst? It says Thanksgiving week ticket you've ever had, but I'm gonna cap that to say like, what was the worst holiday week ticket you ever had? Because I have one.
Now, see, because you're having me to go back to the archives, right?
You want me to do mine first?
Do yours first, so that I have a few minutes to think about mine.
So this is a true story. Back when I was, I think like I was just me at the time, or I had like a part-time guy or whatever it is. It happened to have been Yom Kippur, like the holiest of holy days for Jews, right? The day that we can't do any work, I try to be good. I'll sneak a peek at my email, but not when I'm in temple. And I was I home? I was either at home or I was at Michelle's parents' home, and a client called. There was an architecture client in Manhattan, and their connection to their Xserve went down. And I was like, I have no way of fixing this today. And luckily enough, it was like towards the end of the day. So they were okay with waiting until the next day for me to be there. Obviously, I had to be there first thing in the morning. But it made me realize that, like, it's coming as someone who's Jewish, our holidays don't align with so many other people's holidays. So, like, there are days that I need off that most people wouldn't have off from work. That, like, I was like, the next person I hire can't be Jewish. And like, it's weird to think like that, but like, it really covered our butt, because the following year, granted, nothing happened. If I'm off for a Jewish holiday, my team is covering. And any days that they would have off for like a major holiday, everyone's closed. So it's kind of like a win-win, I guess. But I remember very distinctly, like, sneaking away to my phone to, like, I texted the owner being like, I can't call. I'm with my in-laws. It's Yom Kippur. I can text quietly from the bathroom. You know what I mean? Because like, they can't see me being on my phone. And I'm like, okay, real quick, try this. And he's like, nothing's working. I'm like, I will be there tomorrow at 9 a.m. And he's like, great. I sent everybody home. And it was fine. Things were fine. It was fine. They were okay with the situation. But it was such a stressful moment for me, because it was 4:00 in the afternoon, and the holiday doesn't end until like 7:30. And I was like, oh, I have to fix this. Yeah, so that was my worst.
So I did have one. I haven't thought about this in years. And it was actually Thanksgiving. It wasn't Thanksgiving Day. It was the day before Thanksgiving. And what had happened was it was a lightning strike, because Orlando, lightning capital of the world. It happens all year round. And this was, funny enough, it was, think of Spirit Halloween, but for Christmas and year round. So the size of a Spirit Halloween store.
Yeah. The Christmas shoppy or whatever it's called.
Yeah. But year round, and obviously day before Christmas or day before Thanksgiving, Black Friday and everything being the day after, probably their most busy days of the year.
Yeah.
They got hit by lightning that Wednesday. And they did all of their credit card transactions through the computer. And so the computer was toast. So I literally spent, I don't know, because it happened, if I remember right, it happened in the morning. So it wasn't as bad as it could have been at the end of the day. I took all of the spare parts I could find, because at that time we still had a shop, right, where we were doing repair work. And I just Frankenstein something together and loaded Windows on it and loaded their POS on it and took it down there, and thank God got them back up and running before the holiday.
That's good. Good stuff. Well, from all of us here, I want to just I hope that everyone has a great Thanksgiving if you celebrate, if you're listening from the States. I guess Canadian Thanksgiving already happened. And anyone who's outside of either, happy Thursday. I never know where people are anymore. So I'm always like, have a great Thanksgiving weekend. If you celebrate, it just sounds weird. Anything else you want to say before we... It was a fun day. It was a fun episode. I like this game.
Yeah,
anything else you share?
I did ask ChatGPT to give me some Thanksgiving jokes that related to IT.
Oh, no.
Sadly enough, this is the best one that it came up with.
All right.
Okay, Justin.
Yeah. Yes.
Why do IT workers love Thanksgiving leftovers?
Why do IT workers love Thanksgiving leftovers? I don't know, Eric. Why?
Version control. They can always roll back.
That's
leftover. I know. I told you it was bad.
Oh, I can't wait for January. All right.
That made the delivery worse.
Well, from all of us here, again, have a happy holiday this week. We have some recorded shows coming to you in December from things we did at IT Nation. That was really good. And we'll be back live. But check us out. We're always in Facebook.com/group/allthingsmsp, YouTube.com/@allthingsmsp, and all of your podcasting tools. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Eric. I'm Justin. This show is not HIPAA approved. Bye!
Thank you for listening or watching the All Things MSP podcast. If you liked this episode, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, hit that like button, and consider subscribing to catch all our weekly episodes. And from your host extraordinaire, Justin Esgar, and myself, Eric Anthony, your humble producer and All Things MSP founder, thank you very much for spending your time with us. If you are not aware, All Things MSP started as a Facebook group and now supports over 6,000 members. We also have a LinkedIn page for those of you who don't do Facebook, and make sure to check out our YouTube channel for even more content. And a big thank you to our premier sponsors, EasyDmark, Helped, Goes Into, MoveBot, and Nodeware. And thank you to the rest of our sponsors. Without sponsors, we could not do what we do for the MSP community. Please consider checking them out. The All Things MSP podcast is a BizPow LLC production. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not reflect the thoughts and opinions of any employer, vendor, sponsor, or random taxi driver in the Metro DC area. Be sure to join us next week for another exciting episode.